Sri Shankar Maharaj, Chapter 51. Story of Ramachandra Bhosle. It was the time of freedom struggle in India from the reign of Britishers. All the youngsters were getting involved in the freedom struggle. Mr. Ramachandra Bhosle got influenced by his friends and participated in the freedom struggle. He had a wish to become a doctor from his childhood, but was unable to take admission in the medical college. So he learned the skills of medicine in Germany. He was a good massager. He had given a massage to various great people. Some of his patients were Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, etc. A Brahmin lady named Srimati Kashibai Hanbar used to supply bullets to the revolutionaries of Patri Sarkar. It was a name of group of revolutionaries, hidden in boxes of incense sticks. The commissioner of Satara arrested the lady and imprisoned her. He forced her to declare the names of the revolutionaries. The commissioner brutally harassed her, but she did not utter any name. Finally, they inserted red chili powder in her vagina, but still she didn't open her mouth and died of pain. The news reached Mr. Ramachandra Bhosle, so he accompanied Karamveer Baurao Patil, Mr. Achyut Rao Patwardhan, Mr. Nana Patil, and Mr. Yashwantrao Chavan and decided to teach a lesson to the commissioner of Satara. He posted a letter addressing the commissioner. The letter stated, "Ask for pardon to the family of Srimati Kashibai Hanbar within 45 days, or else be ready for your death." The commissioner received the letter. He read the letter. He ignored the letter and threw it away. After 1 month's span, Mr. Ramachandra Bhosle disguised as an ascetic and went to Satara along with 50 to 60 volunteers. The volunteers buried money under trees at night. While Mr. Bhosle, posing as an ascetic, ordered poor people to dig the place and gave them the money which had been buried earlier to create a miracle. The occurrence of the false miracles spread quickly throughout the village, as the people at that time were very pious. Within 4 to 5 days, the ascetic became very famous. The news reached the commissioner of Satara, so he decided to visit the ascetic. On seeing the commissioner, Mr. Bhosle, posing as an ascetic, said, "Oh, sir, your death is following you." The commissioner got frightened and pleaded for a solution to rescue his life. Mr. Bhosle suggested that the commissioner spend a night in his company. The commissioner immediately took Mr. Bhosle to his camp. They slept together in one room. Mr. Bhosle woke up early in the morning and hit the commissioner hard. Mr. Bhosle gave him his identity and removed a long knife with which he stabbed the commissioner. Hearing the cries of the commissioner, 2 other policemen rushed into the room. The mighty Mr. Bhosle killed them and showed them the way to hell. He then rushed outside the camp area where Mr. Yashwantrao Chavan had kept ready a horse for him to escape from Satara. Mr. Bhosle jumped on the horse and headed towards Pune. Around 20 to 25 policemen with guns followed him. On the steep slope of Katraj Ghat, Mr. Bhosle left the horse because he did not wish to get the horse killed by the firing of the police. He started running to escape from the police. On the way, Mr. Bhosle saw a hut, which he entered. Inside the hut, he saw a Brahmin man sitting and holding his hands around his legs. The man asked, "You have killed 3 people who have harassed and murdered thousands of innocent people. I know that the police are after you to arrest you. You just sit beside me without any worry. I will deal with the police." Hearing the truth of the murder, Mr. Bhosle was surprised and obeyed according to the man's wishes. At the very moment the police entered the hut, they asked the Brahmin, "Where is that man?" The Brahmin replied, "You find out him for yourself." So the policemen searched the hut, but there was no sign of Mr. Bhosle. Although Mr. Bhosle was inside the hut, they could not see him. Getting tired, the policemen went on their way. Mr. Bhosle let out a breath of relief and bowed at the man's feet with love and affection. The man held Mr. Bhosle and said, "My blessings are always with you. No one would ever catch you. So go, now run from here." Mr. Bhosle hurried to Pune, and from there he went to Nashik, Ahmedabad, Dwarka, Karachi, Afghanistan, Baluchistan, and finally reached the arms of the Himalayas. He stayed there for more than 11 years. During that time, he met monks, ascetics, and saints and also experienced the divine company. After he escaped, the British government seized his property and auctioned it for 2 crore rupees. They had also declared a reward of 5 lakhs for Mr. Bhosle, dead or alive. But the Britishers were unable to catch Mr. Bhosle. During the span of 11 years, India got its freedom and he returned from the Himalayas. In the long 11 years, Mr. Bhosle obtained the knowledge of self and understood all spiritual matters. Once Mr. Bhosle received a call from Mr. Acharya Athre and he complained about a sprain in his leg. Mr. Athre called Mr. Bhosle to give a massage to the sprained leg. Mr. Bhosle reached Mr. Athre's house and gave a massage treatment for the sprained leg. After the massage, he went to wash his hands in another room of Mr. Athre's house. He was amazed to see a photograph. He asked Mr. Atre, "Babya?" Mr. Atre's pet name was Babya. "Who is this man?" On that, Mr. Atre informed, "This is Sri Sadguru Shankar Maharaj. He is my great guru." Hearing this, Mr. Bhosle remembered the thrilling moments of the freedom struggle. And he recognized the Brahmin man who had helped him near the Katraj Ghat. Mr. Bhosle narrated the whole event to Mr. Atre. "The Brahmin man in the hut who saved my life is none other than Sri Sadguru Shankar Maharaj himself. He had saved my life and given me a chance to live. It is only because of him I am alive in front of you." Hearing the divine experience of Mr. Bhosle, Mr. Atre was deeply touched and his eyes became wet. Both of them now knew the fact that they were brothers related by the spiritual guru. Mr. Ramachandra Bhosle returned to his house with memories of Sri Shankar Maharaj. This shows us how Sri Shankar Maharaj created miracle for a fearless, mighty freedom fighter, late Mr. Ramachandra Bhosle, and saved his life. Sri Shankar Maharaj is indeed great and his deeds are very divine. Jai Shankar Maharaj.